glass of water, and if you guys want to light a candle to set a nice sacred space for your practice, I love to do that myself. I've got a candle over here. And so I'm just going to welcome you all, and I really want to just touch on a little bit about these wonderful systems that we have, the nervous systems. And when we look at the nervous systems in our body, and I kind of feel like maybe I've been a little so PNS, not PMS, PNS, parasympathetic nervous system. Don't be confused. When I speak about that nervous system, and we favor that nervous system a lot in my practices, and what we're doing here is to balance them. I feel like maybe I tend to really be negative towards the sympathetic nervous system. And I want to preface this class here today. Hi Jim, hi Jess, welcome. I want to preface it that the sympathetic nervous system is actually a wonderful nervous system, right? We are so grateful to have this nervous system because it is necessary for our survival. So if you are stressed out, I would say be grateful for that, because that means that, you know, everything is working, everything is firing. The problem is that we live in that nervous system far too long and too much, and that's where we have a chronic inflammatory response. You know, inflammation is not a negative thing. Did you know that? Inflammation is there for a reason. When our sympathetic nervous system fires, our inflammatory response comes to the surface. Our blood flow goes to all of the periphery, all to our limbs, legs and arms, so that we can run fast. Our cognitive ability becomes very sharp. We make very quick and precise decisions just for our life, to salvage our life, to protect ourselves. And the interesting thing about that nervous system is that it gets fired and triggered, but then we immediately start to come back. So we only live there for maybe a few minutes. That's how it's designed. That's how we're supposed to be. But unfortunately, we have so much stress around us, and I think maybe we have forgotten that the parasympathetic nervous system actually takes a little time to wind down and to access that nervous system. It takes time. So we have an hour or so together, and we're really going to focus on putting you in that state. Okay, so if, let's just say, for example, a bear came in my house right now. I'm not going to take a deep breath. Let's see, how am I going to handle this? No, that's not going to happen, right? I'm going to immediately react and respond to that. And a perfect example, too, is with this morning. I experienced this as I was putting together this class today. It's so funny. Let me just back up a little bit. I've become this weird bird lady. I have these amazing, Skylar's laughing. I have this amazing, these birds that are just flocking to my backyard, and I'm so loving watching them in the morning. And I have this bird's nest out there that's right outside my slider, and you guys, she had 2 babies, and she's come back to do another nesting. She's back again. They created more of a nest. They made it all like homey and nice. And she's sitting out there right now again. So I thought they were gone. I was kind of sad. I'm like, oh, the birds left the nest and they're gone. And now they're back. So the first little babies that came from her eggs has actually been living, kind of hanging out behind my little area that I have set up as a kind of an altar, a table, and some plants. And this bird is very safe back there and blends into the rocks. And I've noticed that this little baby bird's been hanging out there for quite some time. And I'm like, oh no, I hope this bird can fly. So of course I go out and I feed it seeds, and I'm like, okay, this is not helping this bird to get on with its life. I'm like, you know, giving it some food and some water, and it's just ridiculous. I'm ridiculous. But anyway, so this bird's hanging out over there. It does fly away, so it does fly, it's okay, but it comes back periodically, and I have this crazy dog. And it's amazing that these birds kind of hang out over here. They just don't seem threatened by my dog. But this morning, my dog found the bird. Nothing happened. Okay, the bird is fine, it flew away. But my dog actually found this bird and was like going after it. And I immediately went into, I gotta protect this bird. And I started yelling at Shyla. I'm like, Shyla, no! So there I go, right from my relaxed state into the sympathetic nervous system to like protect this bird. And then I had to just bring myself back, and I'm continuing practice. And I'm like, continuing my, developing the practice. So I'm like, that's a perfect example of what happens to us, right? Something happens, we react, we respond. It's very external, very much on what's going on out there. Very vigilant. We're, looking to see in our environment, what's going on. Oh, I heard a noise. What is that? Our ancestors, you're alive right now because they were stressed. Because it's the ones that are like, oh, there's noises in the bushes. It's going to be okay. Those are the ones that become food, okay? It's the ones that are like, yeah, there's something there. We should maybe, react a different way. Those are the ones that survive. So I don't want to put so much negativity on that sympathetic nervous system. It's really an important system, and we're so grateful that we have it. And it's built in. We don't have to do anything. It's built in. But I do think we need to spend a little time favoring that parasympathetic nervous system. So let's get started. I'm so happy you're here, and I'm so excited to share this practice with you. I do want to say that there are going to be some movements that we do today that maybe we haven't done before. So you may have to just take a little look and see what's going on. But it's going to be groovy and smooth and rhythmic and gentle and just really yummy. Okay, and I think it's pretty accessible for everybody. And everybody needs this. Everybody needs this. Right? Skylar, you just took a big, huge test, right? That you're probably so stressed about. And we have lots of things going on in the world right now that just keeps us in this stress response. So it's so important that we spend the time to wind down at the end of the day and even start the day in a very calm, relaxed way so that we understand we're not in danger right now. You are okay. You need to just keep, telling yourself that I'm okay, I don't need to be stressed right now. It takes a little bit of work. Like we do have to spend the time, like I said, it takes a little time to wind down. So we're gonna take that time. Even though it's early in the day, at least here in the desert, it's 2 hours ahead in some places, but it's still early in the day, and we don't want to start our day in a very stressed, tense way. We want to relax and take in what comes at us, and that way we react or respond more effectively. Okay, so we're going to start in a seated position, and if you're not comfortable in a seated position like I am, you can take it into a seat, as I mentioned before. And the first thing I want you to do is we're going to focus on the drishti, the eye gaze. When you're in that stress response, you're very vigilant and very detailed and kind of myopic, where we focus, we zero in on, very detailed. Our periphery actually gets shorter when we're in that stress response. We don't see a lot of things that are on outside of us. We're really zeroed in on what is going on. And so that's, I want to just show you with your eyes, okay? So just take a moment to sit and look at me. And then I'm gonna get a little nervous here, but really look at me. Like zero in right into me. And then now I want you to do the opposite, where you start to see things around me and even around you. It's a softer gaze, like just start to soften your eye gaze. So that's the difference with our drishti, or eye gaze. So for most of the practice, I'm gonna have you just really relax the eyes, relax your jaw. And then speaking to the tongue just for a moment, relax the tongue back and into your palate, kind of like it's swimming in this jacuzzi. The one thing that happens too when we get in that stress response, we get dry mouth. So those of you that have chronic dry mouth, you might be in that chronic state of stress. When we have dry mouth, that means our digestive system is not working, and that's indicative of being in that stress response. We're not thinking about digesting our food when we're running for our lives. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're gonna allow the tongue to relax back and into the mouth. And then if you're comfortable, to narrow the focus and even shutting down the eyes, if that's comfortable for you. What we don't do when we're in stress responses, we don't breathe deeply and fully. So we'll take a few moments to establish that diaphragmatic breathing. If you want, you can take your hands on your belly and expand the belly into the hands and out into the side body and then all the way up into the upper chest, like this balloon is expanding. And then as you exhale, everything draws back to the center and in towards the midline. Inhale, we expand out, we get big, we get full. And then as you exhale, everything gets a little smaller, you squeeze in towards the midline. So don't force this, but just allow this to develop. We're just taking a few moments here. I'm even going to get away from so much instruction. It's going to be more just feeling and letting things open and soften. It's about a softening. And there's really no aim. There's definitely no vigilance to this practice. Notice if your shoulders are tight and maybe up by the ears, we're going to drop those shoulders back and down. So whereas the sympathetic nervous system is very outward, the parasympathetic is more inward. So we're moving more inward, non-reactive, slow. We're not on guard. And then let's join the hands together at the heart center. And this is just a gesture to begin your practice with gratitude for so many things in your life that will help to lower your stress if you just have this practice of gratitude. But more specifically, I want us all to be grateful for these amazing, intelligent, innate nervous systems that we have. So that maybe we can start to develop a dialogue when we do feel very stressed, that we're not fighting against ourselves, we're embracing that stress response and grateful for it. Let's take one more in-breath through the nose. And then on your out-breath, open the mouth slightly and just exhale through the mouth. Very good. Okay, so now if you're in a seat in a chair, you're going to come down onto your mat, and we're all going to lie down on your belly in that prone position. So you can use a blanket if you want to, put them underneath your hips. That will soften if your bones protrude and it digs into the floor. It's not very comfortable, so make it comfortable for yourself. And then placing the hands underneath your forehead so that your neck is nice and long. Relax your shoulders. Wiggle your hips a little bit side to side to kind of just shake out any tension in your low back and hip area. And then relax into a still place here, and all you're going to focus on is breathing in deeply so you feel your organs and your belly is pressing up against the earth. And then as you exhale, everything draws back in towards that midline. Developing a nice, steady cadence, rhythmic cadence with the breath. Good. This is the time where we create a little buffer from everything else, and this position really supports that. You know, it draws everything in and kind of turning away from everything else right now. And just a few more moments here before we start moving into the body. Really try to relax what you consciously can. Wherever you feel you're aware of tightness, just try to relax it through your exhales. Good. One more deep inhale. And long exhale. Very good. And then just bend your knees, and we do what's called windshield wipering. So just let your legs shift all the way to the right and over to the left. You can also refer to this as hip rocking. So you're just rocking through the hips, moving the legs side to side. You can even start to create circles with your legs if that feels better for you. Very nice. And then let's slide the hands underneath your shoulders. Push yourself back into a child's pose. And if you can't quite do child's, just do the best you can. Maybe even just take down dog if you can't get that deep knee flexion. Relax the forehead down onto the mat and start to roll side to side with your head. You're going to roll to the right temple and then roll to the left temple. Massaging that space between the eyes. It's a place where we hold a lot of stress. Just allowing the neck to soften, keeping your jaw soft. Good. And then, and I know I said not to grab blocks, but I just realized I forgot we were going to do this pose. So if you need to go grab them, please grab them, or maybe take a different position if you don't have blocks. You could just take Sukhasana, or you can sit back in your chair. But I'm going to sit back onto these blocks here, and I'm going to be pretty high up. I can sit comfortably on my heels, but I want to be a little more lifted. So make yourself comfortable along the spine. And we want to get the crown of the head right over the pelvis. So you may notice that your tendency is to pitch your chin forward. So just try to clean that alignment up. And then we're going to do a Nadi Shodhana breathing practice, which already sets us up nicely for this practice. And I'm actually going to face you so that you can see. This position is called Vajrasana, and it actually stimulates the stomach channel too, so it will help our digestive system. So sitting tall, I'm going to take my right thumb and block off the right nostril. And then inhale through the left side. Stay with this left side. Exhale through the left side. Inhale through the left side only. And exhale through the left side. And do 2 more, breathing in and out of the left nostril.
This is actually related to the parasympathetic nervous system, the left side of the body. Good, and then just relax the hands in your lap. Close down your eyes and just observe for a moment. And now taking your thumb to block off the left side, and then inhale through the right side. So we're just going to stay on the right side. Inhale and exhale through the right nostril. Remember diaphragmatic breathing, so let your belly expand on the inhale and gently contract on the exhale. Let's do one more round. Once you're complete, you can bring your hands back in your lap, close down your eyes, and just observe. And now taking your dominant hand, whichever one that is, and just block off your nostril with your thumb. Okay, so let's actually get everybody on the same hand. We're going to take our right hand, just for the sake of simplicity and easy to follow. Block off with your right hand, block off your right nostril, and then inhale through the left side. Use your ring finger to block off the left, open up the right, and exhale through the right side. Inhale through the right side, block off the right, and exhale through the left. Inhale through the left side, block off left, exhale through the right. Inhale right, and exhale left. Inhale left, and exhale right. One more round, inhaling through the right, and exhale through the left. Good, and then once you're complete with that, just place the hands back in your lap and go back to observing. And now again, renew the length of the spine if you get a little slouchy. So just sit again nice and tall. And take the right hand to the back of your left ear. I'll mirror you actually. And then you're just gonna draw that right ear towards the right shoulder until you feel a stretch in the left side of your neck. And now turn your chin down towards the right armpit. And keep gently pressing on the back of the head. And at the same time, push the head back into the hand. So you create a little bit of resistance there. This is a really nice stretch around the muscles that connect to the vertebrae. You should be able to feel that. And for the last few moments, you might want to extend your left fingertips down towards the floor. Whether they touch or not doesn't matter. You're just going to create a nice stretch there. And then very gently lift your head back up through center. Just take a moment to circle the head in a way that feels good and right for you. Just circle it around. I like to draw a circle with my nose right out in front of me. That's the kind of circle that I like to take from my neck. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Take your left hand, bring it to the back of your right ear. Gently draw that left ear down, and maybe you can extend your right fingertips towards the floor, up to you. Just take a few moments to stretch the side of the neck. And then moving the chin down again towards that left armpit. So you get more towards the back of the neck where the muscles connect to the vertebrae. It's amazing release for the neck. Very good. And then gently lift the head back up. And now just bring the chin down towards the throat so you extend the back of the neck. And then as you inhale, look up towards the ceiling. Just go easy. Exhale, chin down towards the throat. Moving through flexion and extension a few more rounds. Inhale, maybe you can look up a little further, maybe even back, but don't force that. Chin squeezes down towards the throat as you exhale. Just do a couple more. And releasing any tension that may have accumulated in that neck area. It's a common place to hold stress. The joys of being at home. Okay, Shakti. Okay, come back up through center and then just look at the right shoulder just as far over that's comfortable. And then move over towards the left shoulder. Again, just as far over that's comfortable. Inhale to one side. And exhale to the other side. So synchronizing your breath now to the movement. Just taking one more round. Take your time. You might be moving a little faster or slower than I am. So find your own rhythmic cadence. When you are complete, you'll just bring your head back to neutral. If you need to renew the length of the spine, I find that sometimes we need to do that because we get used to slouching. So just keep renewing that length. And then just draw those circles again with your nose right out in front of you. And your circle could be really big and dynamic if your neck is more free. Or it can be very conservative if you're feeling a lot of tension and stress there. Good, and then go the other direction. Unwind our neck. Very good, and then come back up through center. Take a nice deep inhale and a long exhale. Again, just back to that observation. And then we're going to come up off the blocks if you're using them, and we're going to lie down back onto the belly, back on your prone position. And then we're going to come into what's called crime scene, which is not helpful for the nervous system, is it? But I like to call it that because it makes sense. When you see a crime scene chalk of a person, you see how their one leg is out to the side. So that's what I want you to do, is put your arms in cactus, so they're bent out to the side. And then we're going to start with the left leg and just bend the left knee out to the side. And if you notice that your hips are really popping up, you want to lengthen the growing muscle. So try to lengthen the inner thigh out to the side so that you can soften your hips down. So take the time to really get that. And then just pause there with the forehead on your hands. And then I want you to prop yourself up and just take a little look at me. Now I'm going to take my right arm And I'm gonna thread it underneath the left until I get onto the back of my right shoulder. And then just bring your palms together, let your head relax. You can take a little blanket and slide it under your head if you need to. And then we're just gonna move through protraction and retraction of the shoulders. So we're gonna retract back, and you'll see I'm gonna glide open into a twist. Let that right arm or left arm come out to the side, so I'm in this twist. And then just glide right back. So it's kind of like you're just flopping forward, bring the hands together, and then gliding that arm all the way out and open into that twist. So when you see, or you may even have experienced this yourself, when you start rocking, like it's a natural thing if you get super stressed or some traumatic experience, you see this in people, they self-soothe themselves by rocking. And so this is really good, just to rock kind of forward, reaching, and then rocking or flopping back. And just get real easy. I don't want you to really force any twist here. We're just gliding to soften those muscles. And if it feels really good for you, you can just hold the twist. You can just hold that twist. But I happen to really like that movement, so I'm going to keep moving. And just continue that a couple more times, just on your own. Notice where you feel the resistance. Maybe it's along the ribs, the kidney band. And then we'll all hold this twist, just open out, just allowing that twist to happen. Don't force anything. And then let's go back to bringing the hands together. And now I'm going to have you slide that right knee underneath the left so that you're stacking them on to the side in the fetal position. Allow your head to relax. And then this top leg, you're just going to extend it out, hover it straight. And then you're going to bend it back. So you're kind of trying to get this thigh stretch here. Like you're going to try and touch the back of your head with your toes. And then keep your knee bent and draw it into the chest. And move it back behind you like you're trying to mimic a scorpion tail. Okay, you're not forcing this, you're just gliding forward and back. Now you could stay with that movement. Some of you may just really feel like you want a good thigh stretch. So you could reach back for the tops of the toes and just pull gently, heel towards your glutes to get that stretch. Otherwise, just keep that movement going. Thigh in and thigh back. Good, and then let's just go back to that fetal position. And then now you'll take your bottom leg, your right leg, and just stretch it out. Just stretch it straight out in front of you. Now, some of you may want to grab your big toe. But if that was like, no, Cherie, why do I want to grab my big toe? You don't have to do that. You can just let that leg be straight. Otherwise, you can hold on to the toe. And then this top leg, you're going to bring your foot behind you, knee pointing up. And you're just going to come into this nice relaxed position. Arms are out wide. Chest is facing up towards the ceiling. Holding onto the toe or not. And go back to that nice steadiness of your breath.
Do you guys remember us doing sundial? So I'm gonna make sure that I have clearance around my head and around. You may wanna do the same. Just make sure you have clearance, okay? So we're in this fetal position, and this left fingertips are gonna stretch out onto the floor in front of you. And then start to draw this line all around your head, all the way out to the side. Allow your shoulder to drop back. So now you're kind of in this twist. And then complete that circle all the way down to your body. And then reach that arm back out again and continue. So if you had to take a little look at me, if you're confused, you can do that and then just jump right in. But they're just nice big circular rotation in the neck and the shoulder, releasing tension and stress in the shoulder. So we're not looking to get more flexible here, really. We're not looking to get stronger right now. We're just looking to soften some of those muscles that are chronically tight. They're chronically in that stress response. Not really any vigilance at all. I'm just moving the body in a nice, safe, gentle way. And I hear quite a bit of crunching in my shoulder. You may also feel that. We're going to do one more round here with that sundial. And then once you're complete with that, we're going to roll back onto your belly in that prone position. And then we're going to take the hands underneath the forehead again, stack the hands underneath the forehead. And then I'm just going to move, and I'm going to let my shoulders kind of move a little bit side to side, rolling through the top of my, or the front of my head, the forehead. You can just kind of roll side to side. It's very soothing, calming. Okay, now I'm just going to flip around. You probably don't need to do that, but I want to make sure I face you. So now I'm going to get onto that fetal position on the other side. So now you should be on your left side. And then just take a moment, tuck the hand maybe underneath your head to support your neck. And just take a moment there. Just take a deep breath. These are very soothing. Good. And then we have crime scene. So roll onto your belly. And now I believe it's your right leg is going to come out to the side, and we're going to lengthen underneath the groin. So make sure your hips are not poking out, but try to lengthen from the groin all the way out to the side. So you get a little longer. Cushion the knees if you need to with your blanket. And just take a moment there, feeling that stretch. It's quite interesting, that stretch. And now propping yourself up, we're going to slide that left arm underneath the right. And then open that right arm all the way out to the side. So now you're in this nice twist. And then we'll start to move through that protraction and retraction of the shoulders. So the movement is actually facilitated by the shoulders. But I just want you to just kind of flop open and then flopping back. It's a gliding, relaxing, opening out as you inhale and closing as you exhale. It's okay if the head lifts up, but then try to relax it back as you open. And
And this should feel really good. So just enjoy it. Give yourself permission. You need this. You need this type of practice. We all do. Just keep going until you lose track of time. Don't worry about what's next. Just stay in the moment. And then you can just hold that twist if you like. Just stay open. Take deep breaths there. Let the shoulder drop back. And then come back into the fetal position. So now your bottom leg will come up and stack your knees to the side. Good, just take a moment there. And then the top leg, we're gonna just bend it back like a scorpion. So just let your hip open up. It's like you're trying to touch the back of your head with your toes. And then draw them into the chest. So just that top right leg moves back and forth. And then if it feels appealing to you and you want that thigh stretch, you can grab a hold of the toes and just pull the heel toward your glutes just to get that extra stretch. Otherwise, you're still moving, just bringing it in and back. Let's do one more. And then once you're complete with that, we'll just take the knees to stack. And now that bottom left leg is going to extend out straight. Remember, you can possibly hold on to the toe. But I'll tell you, this has a lot to do with your own structure. And it may not work for you to grab a hold of the toe if you have really long legs. So just let the legs stretch out. And then we'll just open this top right leg. It's going to step behind you, knee pointing up, sole of the foot down. And then just open up that right arm. So you're grounded through the right leg. The right shoulder is back towards the floor. You're maybe holding on to your left big toe or maybe not. More importantly is that you're keeping your breath very steady and you're trying to shift out of so much thinking, right? So much thinking. Okay, then we have sundial on this side. So you can take your knees to stack in that fetal position. Make sure you have clearance above your head. And then let's do something here. Let's really bring in that protraction, that reaching forward, really reach forward, let the shoulder blade glide, and then keeping that, start to draw a line above your head, let the head drop back, let that shoulder drop back, reach out to the right, and then complete that circle, and then continue. So my head's gonna lift up initially to reach beyond my bottom fingers. And then it's going to come all the way back up above and around. So just trying to get a little more mobility in the shoulder girdle. Stretching forward, reaching up, all the way out. Should be very yummy. Should be very soothing. Okay, I'll finish that up. And then we're just gonna come back onto your belly. And this time, pop yourself up into Sphinx. So this is a very gentle back bend. I like to pad up my hips here if you need to do that. Feels good. And then you can just prop yourself up like the number 11, elbows underneath your shoulders, spread the fingers, stretch back through the toes. And very gently, it's like your chest is moving in the opposite direction as your feet. Feet stretch back, chest reaches forward. Good, one more breath here. And then this is one, I hope you guys did okay with that sequence. I know it was a little bit different. I hope you were able to follow along okay. But this one, you'll be glad to know, is something you're all familiar with. So let's come down onto the belly and then reach that right arm out long like an airplane wing, palm facing down. And then start to walk your arm out. Walk it out so that you open up the chest and shoulder. Stack your shoulders, stack your hips, and then just pop up onto your left fingertips, kind of close to your face. Your elbow will be up towards the ceiling, and that way you can leverage a little more easily. Optional is to take that foot behind you, knee pointing up. But if that's too much, just go ahead and stack your legs. Stack your feet, knees, and hips. And actually, I said you were all familiar with this. Not all of you are. I think, Skylar, this is your first class with me in a long time. I'm not sure we've done this before, but wow, so good if you on the computer a lot, driving a lot. Everything we do is the opposite of this. So let's just hang out here 2 more breaths. Relax your head. And then very slowly and gently just move back to the belly, and then we'll pop up onto your right fingertips now. Extend your left arm out, shoulder height. Walk it out, and then stack your hips. Work at stacking your shoulders. Maybe take that top right leg behind you, knee pointing up, but remember, it's only an option. It might seem appealing to some, not so much to others, and that's perfect. Good. Last 2 breaths, you guys, and try to relax a little bit more. And then as you're ready, slowly make your way back down onto your belly. And then we're going to sweep the arms back alongside the body. This is probably as hard as it's going to get today, you guys. We're going to lift everything up off the floor. So you're balancing on your pelvis. Your thighs lift up. Your arms lift up. Your chest lifts up. Spread your toes. But try to keep your neck long. Don't throw the head back to try to see above you. Just try to keep your eye gaze, I don't know, a couple of inches out in front of you. Lift from your heart rather than the eyes. Lift up, go up one more time. And then no crash landings. Nice and slowly lower down. Slide the hands under your shoulders and push yourself back into child's pose. Wiggle your hips a little side to side. That felt good. And then let's come up onto tabletop, hands and knees. You can cushion those knees if you need to with your blanket. And then we'll move through some nice cat-cows here. So first, root those hands entirely, the inner edges as well as the outer, underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your sit bones. And then as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest forward between the arms. Look up to your own degree. And then as you exhale, push the floor away, round the spine, navel in and up, let your neck be long. And go ahead and travel through a few cat-cows on your own, synchronizing your full inhale to the movement and full exhale. In fact, if anything, you can play with keeping your breath even longer than the movement. So even though the movement has stopped, the breath is still going. I'm inhaling, I keep inhaling even though the movement is at its maximum, keep inhaling. And then same with your exhale. A couple more rounds. And then come back into a neutral spine. Now take the fingers, face them out to the side. The heels of your hands will probably be on your mat, the fingers will be off. And then we're just gonna glide side to side, getting into the shoulders and wrists, maybe even the elbows a little bit. So this is all for you computer people. Going back and forth. Or actually any activity that is repetitive, right? Like gardening, right, Nancy? All the stuff we do that's repetitive movement is not so good for us. So we want to give our body the opposite. Stretch that stuff out. And then let's come back to center. Now move the fingers to face all the way back towards your knees. This might surprise you if you haven't done this in a while. So to make this a little more accessible, you can walk your knees in a little bit. Get those fingers to face back. And then if that's really, really extreme and you definitely feel a lot, just stay right here. Otherwise, you can start to move the knees back further until you feel a stretch. And then now the movement is forward and back, just slightly. Slightly forward, slightly back until you feel the stretch. Whew. You probably feel one wrist talking to you more than the other. Breathe deeply and then try and pull the breath down deeper into the lower lobes of the lungs. That's the receptors for that parasympathetic nervous system. The upper lobes have receptors for the sympathetic, which is why we breathe short and shallow and heavy when we're stressed. Okay, one more round here of moving forward and back. And then very gently, you're going to move those hands back around. Don't be surprised if they feel really achy and sore after that. And then I'm going to sit back onto my heels, or you can use your blocks again. Place the blocks right between your heels. And then just circling out those wrists. That should feel really good after that. Good. Go the other direction. And then give your hands a shake. Nice. And then let's inhale, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Give yourself a big long stretch there. Look up between the hands. And then as you exhale, draw the hands right into the heart center. So from this position, I'm going to face you so it's easier for you to see. So from this Vajrasana, you're just going to come on over to your right side. Sit. And then just open the legs up a little bit. So you slide this top knee off the bottom knee. And then just take your hands around towards your right. And
until you start to feel a little twist. It's kind of like a mermaid, I think it's also called a mermaid. And so we're just gonna look over the left shoulder, just gently. And then look over the right shoulder. So I want you to do this like someone called your name. Someone called your name, you're gonna look and go, what? Someone call me? Oh, that was nothing. And then you're gonna look back to the right. Oh, they called me again. Look over. Yes, can I help you? Oh, that's nothing. And then go back. So that's the kind of movement you want. Do that 2 more times. You're not trying to force this twist or get really deep into the twist. We're just softening those tight muscles. 1 more time. Very good. And then I'm just gonna come back onto my heels just to switch sides. Now I'm gonna drop over to the left side. Your left side. I'm mirroring you. Let your legs come apart a little bit. Take the hands over to your left. Same thing. Someone calls you. Look over your right shoulder. Yes. Oh, never mind. Look over the left shoulder. Someone calls you again. Look. Yes. And then you want to ignore that person. So just going that movement, that kind of cadence, very gentle. Letting go of the vigilant, getting the twist exactly right. This is not what this is about today. Just feeling. 1 more time. Very nice. And then we'll just take a seat. Take a seat on your mat, and I'm gonna come into Janu Sirsasana. So let's extend your right leg out, left foot comes in towards your inner thigh. So sometimes forward folds are really hard for people because we're so tight. So you could take this blanket and just slide it underneath your hips, if that helps you. And we're just gonna take like kind of that similar type movement that we're doing today. You're just gonna circle around the hips, a little bit forward and a little bit back. So you start to loosen up those really stubborn tissues around the hips, around the joints that prevents you from moving forward into that forward fold. And then we'll circle again the other direction, just reverse it. Maybe you can come a little closer towards the leg. Some of you might have that available to you. But this is not about forcing. Just meet your body where it is. Right? 1 more circle. Good. And then just keep your hands to frame that extended leg. Lift up out of the waist on the in-breath. And then now just come down as far as comfortable for you. Just where you feel something, but you can still be calm. It's not causing you to make a funny face or to shorten your breath at all. Some of you might be able to reach for your foot and lie down over that leg. And I realize that's not for everybody, so don't worry about it. People are still gonna love you, even if you can't come all the way down. I promise. I still love you. And take 2 more breaths. Maybe through the mouth on the exhale. It's always nice. And then we'll make our way back up to a seat. Just simply switch sides. Right foot in, left leg out. Hands on either side just for support, and then just start those circles. Coming around, forward towards the leg, dropping back towards the seat. We're actually getting those ribs to unlock as well. The diaphragm. Good. Remember, you can take big circles or just keep them small. Okay, then we'll go the other direction. Circle around, forward. Notice the difference between this side and the other side, right? It's quite different. Good, then come back up to a seat, reach the arms up on the inhale so you get nice and long. Keep that length, place the hands on either side of the leg, wherever they go. And then draw the chest forward to take a little roundness out of your spine. And then maybe you can come a little further down, or maybe you're at your edge. So wherever that is for you, just soften your eye gaze, soften the jaw, the tongue in your mouth. Breathe with steadiness and a rhythmic texture to it. One more breath here, maybe out the mouth. Just to soften a little bit more. Very good, and then coming back up. Take the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. This is where the blanket is super helpful. So if you're not using the blanket, I would recommend you do if you're tight. And then we're just gonna circle again, just circling through the hips, rolling through the pelvis. It's kind of like a cat-cow variation. And then go the other direction, circle. And rock our way into the parasympathetic nervous system. Good, and then sit nice and tall on the inhale, and just start to come forward and down on the exhale to your own degree. Try to relax. I love this, the quote, the success, the measured success. Your success is measured by how much you can relax in every situation. So I find that to be really true. You react differently, respond differently. And let's make our way up. And then extend your legs out in front of you. I'm just going to turn sideways so I'm on my mat. So just coming here, and then bring the hands back for support. Just support yourself with your legs out in front of you, and just start to circle through your ankles. Big sweeping motion with the ankles. You might get some loud noises coming out of those ankle joints. That's a good thing. And then sweep the other way, circle. Good, now point and flex your feet. Pointing and flexing. If you notice that your eye gaze has gotten pretty sharp, you're really focused, try to soften it. Point and flex, point and flex. Okay, very nice. Shake out the legs. Sit nice and tall again on your sit bones, right on top. So just take a little look at me for a moment. Hopefully you all can see me. If you're sitting and you start to do this, then that's a good indication. You still need your hands back behind you to lift up across the chest. And you can see that the center of my head is stacked over my pelvis. And that's what you want. Flex your feet. This is already a forward fold, so it might be really great for you, and this is it for you today. It's perfect. It's better to do this than to do this. Round and try to come down. Okay, so stay lifted. Those of you that have a little more range of motion, you can start to pretend or think of placing your belly, your lower belly, on your upper thighs. Bring the hands forward and then extend out of the waist. Your ribs move away from the pelvis. And then maybe you're at your edge, or maybe you can walk out a little bit more. So you find where your stopping point is, honor it, respect it, and just take a few breaths. You notice I'm not even bringing the strap into this. I think that it's just good to meet your body where it is and don't force it to be anything different right now. Good, and then we'll slide back up again. Good, so if you're on that blanket, you can move that off to the side and then scooch a little forward so you have room to lie back. I always forget I have this little mic pack. Lie all the way back and then just gather your knees into your chest. Rock side to side, massaging your low back and hips. And then start to circle the knees in and around and away from you, so you start to cover more ground in that low back area. Nice massage. And then just go the other direction, circle. And now let's just draw the right leg in. Interlace your fingers just below your right knee. Extend your left leg long unless your low back is not comfortable with that. You can just bend that left knee, place it onto the floor. And then just start circling through the right ankle only. Just circle one direction 4 or 5 times. And then circle the other direction about the same. Relax that ankle and move into the right hip, right thigh. So circle in that right hip, big or small. You're massaging very important glands right there in that right hip, right leg. Also stimulating digestion. This is the ascending side of our colon on the right side. So we're creating some massage there so we can absorb our nutrients better. Good, and then now if you have a strap or something like it, even a towel or a belt would work. You can loop it around the instep of your right foot. I'm going to hold on to my big toe because I have shorter legs. Some of you may really need to have that extension of your arms here. If you're holding on to the toe, just make sure the shoulders are relaxed back and your chin is in. So taking that strap, if you have it, or your foot, and start to draw your right leg out to the right as you bring that left arm out to the left. And just keep yourself somewhat anchored in the left side so you don't collapse all the way to the right by flexing your left foot and extend through the left fingertips. Take one more breath there. Use your inhale, please. Please inhale and lift your right leg back up through center. Take a hold of the strap or the toe with your left hand, and then reach the right arm out to the side as you start to draw that right leg over to the left. So now just crossing the body. Remember to relax. Your legs are firm, but you're not so tight that you're going to war with your legs. You're just keeping them somewhat active and alert. Good. Then inhale, come back up through center. Release the strap, and then just squeeze that right knee back into your chest just for a moment. Slide your left foot to the floor and cross your right ankle right over that left knee. Okay, so keep the right foot flexed just a little bit so you protect your knee. Bring your awareness to the small of your back, that natural lumbar curvature that you have. I'm going to have you take it away. So glue the back to the floor.
And then keeping that, press your right knee, right thigh away from your body, just until you feel the stretch in the front of the hip. You could stay there if that's a really good place for you. Some of you might want to take it a little bit stronger by interlacing your hands beyond your left thigh. But check this out, you guys. Make sure that your left knee doesn't cave in towards the midline of your body or towards the right shoulder. That's your body's way of cheating. So we're going to try to avoid that. Bring that left knee in line with your left shoulder, and then start to draw it towards the left shoulder as you push the right knee away from your right shoulder. Hello. Definitely feel the difference with that. Relax your shoulders, relax your face, your eyes. And then let all of that go. Extend your legs out in front of you. Reach the arms all the way back like you're stretching in bed. Inhale, full lungs. And then as you exhale, pull your legs in, lift your head and shoulders, come into a tight little ball to stretch your back. And then again, inhale, lengthen your legs out, arms reach back. Nice long stretch. And then exhale, knees in together, pull everything up. Let's do it one more time. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, draw yourself into a tight little ball. Now keep the thighs pressing into your belly, but relax your head and shoulders down. And you may even want to wrap your arms around the front of your legs, reaching for opposite elbows or wrist or forearms, whatever you can get a hold of. Chin slightly tucks and then just squeeze down. Try to bring your sacrum down. Good. And now keep that left knee in, extend the right leg out in front of you or keep it bent. And circle that left ankle. Good. Now reverse that circle. Breathe. Good. Relax the ankle. Move into that left hip, left thigh. Stimulating now the descending colon. Also those important glands right there in the hip. And then go the other direction. Is the tongue in your mouth, does it feel tight, like you're pushing it forward? If it is, just relax it back. And that actually increases saliva, just by relaxing the tongue and the mouth. Okay, squeeze down into that left hip. And then take your straps now, if you're using them, loop it around the left instep. Otherwise, just hold on to the big toe with your left fingertips, 2 fingers. Good. And then as you're ready, take that left leg out to the side as you reach the right arm out to the right. So you're getting space here in all possible directions. Use your inhale, please, to come back to center, and then hold on to the strap or your foot with your right hand. Cross the body, reach that left arm out, keep your left shoulder down, and just take that nice twist. It really gets into the outer hip, outer thigh, a place where we all get pretty tight. Then inhale, come back up. Release that strap, squeeze that left knee into your chest, create a little squeeze, a little tourniquet. Squeeze down. Slide the right foot to the floor and cross left ankle over right knee. And again, natural curve in that low back, but then I want you to take it away by pressing the small of your back. Each vertebra down is glued to the mat. Keeping that, press that left thigh away from you gently. That might be just perfect for you. Or you can go a little stronger, interlace right in between your legs beyond your right thigh, and then check out that right knee. Where is it? So bring it more in line with your right shoulder. Oof. And then press your left knee away from your left shoulder. Those two actions are huge, huge for the hips. It's so easy to feel nothing. And just by changing a couple things, boy, you feel everything. Good, one more breath here, maybe through the mouth, exhale. And then release. Yeah, stretch those legs out in front of you. And again, reach the arms back, big breath in. And then exhale, just pull yourself up into that tight little ball. Last time, maybe reach for opposite elbows, squeeze up tight. And then bring the feet up towards the ceiling, let your head drop back. See if you can grab a hold of your outer ankles or the sides of your legs. Make your legs wide. And then pull the thighs, knees right towards the armpits or rib area. Come into happy baby pose. And then a little rocking. It's always nice, stays with this beautiful theme of the practice, just rocking side to side. A little self-soothing. If you'd like, you can extend the legs out longer to the side, straightening the legs a little bit more. But try to keep your sacrum down. Try to keep your low back flat as you extend the legs out to the side. Good. And then draw the legs together, bend the knees, place the soles of the feet down, and then peeling the hips all the way up. I'm going to have you walk your shoulders even closer together. So you have a nice little platform there to lift the hips, lift the belly, and slightly lift your chin. Some of you might want to interlace the hands underneath you, but don't worry, that's not accessible. Just reach in the direction of your feet. And then let's lower one vertebra down at a time. And we'll take the blocks, one or two blocks. If you like, you can just bring them underneath your hips, land your hips on them, and then extend your legs out for the nice supported back bend. This feels so good. Stretches out your organs, great for digestion. Also, you can feel that it's getting your hip flexors. And the interesting thing about the certain muscles in the body, how they relate to our nervous systems, the hip flexors are directly connected to the sympathetic nervous system. It's the muscle that gets us going fast, right, to run. So very interesting. If they're really tight there, it could just be an indication you're in that stress response a little too much. The body tells you, right? It tells you everything. It tells you all you need to know if you know what to look for. Tells a little story. All right, let's bend up the knees, soles of the feet down, and then we'll take the legs up towards the ceiling, just stacking ankles, knees over the pelvis. So this is wonderful for calming down the mind, the nervous systems, helps digestion. That's what's so interesting about the chronic digestive disorders that are going on right now. In my practice, I see this a lot. And they're on the rise, and it's because, you know, when you're in that stress response, your body can't be bothered with digesting food. We're trying to survive here, right? So that digestion is directly affected, along with chronic inflammation and sleep issues. So like I said before, it takes time, right? It takes time. So taking that extra half hour or hour at the end of the day, especially when you want to have a good night's sleep, is a really good idea. You know, create a little buffer from social media, maybe intense movies or any kind of intense readings, because it triggers that response, and you want to kind of turn that down a little bit at the end of the day. So read things that are spiritually uplifting, or, you know, sit outside if it's a full moon and absorb that beautiful moon energy that's very cooling and calming. Do things that are soothing. Okay, then let's take the feet down towards the floor, and then we'll lift the hips, slide the blocks out, and just gather those knees back into your chest. Make a little rock and roll here, side to side. And then we'll set up for Shavasana. Soles of the feet can come together if you want to do Supta Baddha Konasana, or you can just extend your legs out in front of you. But we're going to do a little breath work here, just to anchor this practice. And we'll do some 1 to 2 breathing. So start with an easier cycle, maybe a 4-second inhale, and then try to double that exhale. Go to 8 seconds if you're doing 4-second in. You might be more comfortable with 3 and 6, and maybe you're really relaxed and you can do 8 and 16. Important thing is not to force it to be anything other than it is comfortably. So take a few rounds of that on your own. Just go ahead and allow your breath to be natural. Relax completely. Let your eyes soften. Allow the tongue to relax back into your mouth. Jaw is soft. Hopefully you feel very soothed. And I really hope for you all that this type of practice will set up your day optimally. Placing one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Just in this nice reminder that you're safe. It's okay to relax, to rest. You taking care of yourself
is the best gift you can give to everybody else you come in contact with, strangers or loved ones. You can rest for a little bit longer if you'd like, but I am going to officially end the practice today. Much gratitude to you all. Thank you so, so much, and I really hope this was the lovely class that I wanted it to be for you, and accessible for everyone, dealing with all kinds of different malaise and pain and all kinds of issues with their body. I hope this was a practice you could all do